What was the most ducked up thing you saw in school? In 6th grade, my math teacher was arrested for having child pornography on his laptop and watching it during breaks. He had just finished helping me on a math problem when he looked up at me, smiled, and said, "I really like that birthmark on your face. It looks like a teardrop." It looks really cute when the vice principal walks into the room and asks him to step outside. We had big wind down in our classroom and the front door was wide open. Outside stood the entire administration and 2 police officers. The vice principal took his laptop and they left. Never saw that teacher again. Yikes. Close call for you. The white dove they released for Peace Day got immediately snatched mid-flight by a red-tailed hawk. This was in elementary school. Saw a girl stomp on another girl's jaw with her high-heeled boot for looking at her boyfriend at the next lunch table over. I heard she had to get her jaw wired. I hope she was charged with assault. That is disgusting. I hope her boyfriend realized what a jealous insecure pose she is and dumped her on the spot. A kid in my biology class accidentally stabbed his face with scissors. Then another kid chased him out of the room with a microscope slide to catch a few drops of blood. So he took his blood covered slide and the teacher resignedly let us see the red blood cells still moving around. The stabbed kid was fine. A few stitches and he was good to go. Opportunist. Saw a kid throw a pickleball paddle at a gym teacher. Knocked her unconscious. Blood everywhere. He was suspended for some time. Was an asshole. That's actually really bad. Was she okay? Concussion and stitches. Paddle clocked her right in the forehead. I have a vivid memory of her clutching the padding you see on gym walls as she went down. She was older, so you could tell after that she was a bit uneasy. Mexican gang member stabbed another Mexican gang member in the neck with a pencil. In class. It was 8th grade. He lived. Juan Wick. Tedigo close mad conuen pinchlpes. A guy literally shitting on a teacher's desk. What's up? Crapped on your desk. Duck. Sup with that? A kid hung himself on a playground our senior year. I hear his brother found him. This all happened a week after 2 of the brother's friends, also seniors, died when they wrapped their classic Mustang around a tree near VHS. Made for a rough senior year to say the least. Jesus Christ. Poor guy. How's he doing now? Better. Has a family of his own now. My middle school teacher did a thing where we could bring our pets to school. A kid in my class got attacked by a macaw after he tried to grab it off a desk so he could play with it and had to go to the hospital to get stitches. I was suspended and grounded for bringing a macaw to school. 1. I read a kitten got attacked too. The kid had it coming. You don't touch a pet without asking the owner if it's okay. That's just reckless. 3. They shouldn't have suspended you. When I was 8 we were making cookies in class and they gave us square cheese graters to make chocolate chips with. Because they didn't trust us with knives, a fair judgment. Some kid was holding a few graters and pretended to be a robot. This girl shouted at him because he wasn't a robot and proceeded to take one of the graters and grate his hand. Lots of blood happened and then a pair of twins both fainted. The duck. What happened to the person who tried to grate the kid's hand? I don't recall her getting in trouble at all. Not that I saw anyway. I think it was just put down as an accident. Someone hung themselves in the girls' locker room. People came in to change and had to hold her feet up to make sure that she didn't die. It was ducked. It was a rival football game and the stands were packed. A section of the old wood bleachers collapsed and 20 or so students went to the hospital with numerous broken bones, concussions, and lacerations of various degrees. During the same game, I saw a guy get hit so hard in the leg that it shattered and both bones were showing. Poor kid ended up in a wheelchair for the rest of the school year. I know it has nothing to do with your comment, but it reminded me about a classmate who had his leg broken and had to use a wheelchair. An earthquake happened and he was left all alone in the classroom while everyone else evacuated. Bonus, we once had a gas leak, but fortunately everyone returned home safely. Bonus 2. My school also went bankrupt 1 month ago because the owners had a crippling debt with the bank and didn't pay rent for the building we were using. That should be a thread on its own. I was in HS in the 90s. They announced the Odge verdict over the PA system. We listened to it on the radio. I was in art or photography at that moment. One of those moments you remember where exactly you were and who was there with you. Same here. Math. Teacher tried to get our attention, then realized the 5 black kids had the radio with everyone huddled around them. Teacher eventually sidestepped over and listened with us. He knew taking that radio on that day would have been a bad move. A kid jumped over the balcony to try and beat the rush on mashed potato day. He broke both his legs. Did not get his potatoes. Took me too long to realize mashed potato day is probably just the day your cafeteria serves mashed potatoes and not some kind of big yearly mashed potato event at your school. Oh man, I wish it would been a mashed potato event. That would have been so amazing. But alas, no, just plain old mashed potato day. It was every Friday and always a madhouse trying to get down to the cafeteria due to the way the school was set up. In kindergarten there were 2 kids in my class that were cousins. They were just kind of dirty. Physically I mean. No real regard for hygiene. Our school was made of concrete blocks, so the windowsills were deep enough to sit in as a kid. In the bathroom the window was way up high, like 2 feet from the ceiling. During the allotted class bathroom break, these 2 cousins would climb up the stall walls, sit in the super high windowsill, and dangle their feet. Then the 16 other boys in our grade would line up like a firing squad and try to piss on their feet. It was a game. If you hit the lanky one's feet you're doing okay, but if you hit the short one's feet that's really something. The kids getting pissed on loved it as much as we did. They invented the game. We did this every single day for a whole school year. 16 5-year-olds would line up and piss on the wall. Nobody ever said a word to us about it. Username checks out. A girl with bulimia tried to shout down a spiral staircase, but because her gag reflex was so weak she vomited from a great height instead. Oh the splash. Emerald splash. Nobody could deflect it. These 2 kids got into fight at my school. Somewhere during the tussle one kid lost his balance and on the way down threw the meanest uppercut ever. He connected on the other kid's bare teeth and pushed them into his gums. He ducked up his own hand really bad. Blood just everywhere and no teachers in sight for like another 3 minutes. This is some Mortal Kombat X-ray vision shit. First ear ripping, then this. Wow. A kid clipped the tip of his tongue off with a pair of safety scissors after someone dared him to. One of my brother's friends cut the very tip of his nose off cause someone dared him to edit. His nose is just a little bit flat at the end as far as I know. I haven't seen him in years, but it was a stupid dare and a funny story to tell now. Maybe it was to spite his face. Some girl broke up with a guy, so he smeared his shit on her locker and pissed all over it. What's with all the shit stories in this thread? I want to know too. How did so many people get comfortable handling poop? 2 guys in my class would always race to the door when the bell rang and try to get the other one late. One day one of them made it in class with a couple seconds to spare, so he whips around and slams the door closed. I sat in the front of the class at the time and all I see is a pointer finger shoot out from the hinged side of the door and bounce onto one of those metal shelves. The kid began screaming outside the door and my teacher, being the kind lady she was, ran to the door to see what had happened. But before she can get there, I guess she saw the finger and let out a whimper and collapsed to the ground mind you. This was a matter of seconds and now everyone in my class was alert. But before anyone could react, the kid runs into the classroom and yells my finger. And sure enough there was only a bloody nub where his pointer finger got cleanly cut off. All I remember after that was the other kid began to panic and get more hysterical than the guy who got his finger cut off. Shock is one hell of a drug lol. By now, a bunch of other kids were up and yelling outside the hallways for help while I got some tissues for the kid to help the bleeding. In the end the kid went to the and actually got the finger 90% fixed. He says he still can't feel some parts of that finger, but he was fine. The teacher ended up going to the nurse's office and ended up fine. I know she went home for the day, so overall the day was a 6/10. Got less homework TL. Doctor, kid got his finger cut off and door. Teacher passed out. Both ended up fine. Edit, spelling. Why is it always my dick that gets uneasy whenever I read things like this? Same. And I don't even have a dick. Nothing that I personally saw at my high school was disturbingly ducked up. Just weird. Some kid smuggled in a bunch of onions and clogged all the downstairs toilets with them. Who the hell does that? They were trying to summon Shrek. My class was going to lunch, and at the time it was the start of this virus, and so the teacher, being smart, made us wash our hands. I walk in, and I'm the first to see it. Duck written in shit on the back wall of the restroom. Let's just say I didn't eat much at lunch that day. I was in 9th grade. One of our classmates got drunk, stripped and streaked the lunchroom, gymnasium, basically any place crowded. The staff was afraid to tackle a naked teenager, so we all got an eyeful. Sorry, European here. How old is 9th grade? 14 to 15 Ike. In my school there was a kid, or multiple kids, we don't know, who would shit in a urinal every once in a while. They were known as the urinal shitter. Someone made a meme with the Grim Reaper going to the doors template with all the bathrooms they had done it in, and the Reaper going into the last bathroom, the office bathroom. The meme spread very quickly, and I guess some teachers saw it. Since there is blood in the meme, coming from under all the closed doors, they decided it was a credible threat of violence. They closed the school for 2 days for safety concerns. Just a super weird story all around. Sounds like a case for the Hardley boys. My clues pointing to the left. Someone had taken a massive shit. It was larger than a coffee cup in width and considerably longer. So large it was impossible to flush. People were lined up into the halls to see this monstrosity, including faculty. You know it's a small town when a turd calls that much attention. Edit, damn this blew up. Thanks for the silver and all the upvotes. On a side note, I never knew that such thing as a poop knife existed, but thank you dear editors for the laughs. Nobody had a poof knife. And it's gone. Poof. There was a girl I was friends with who had developed early and had pretty big boobs and considered thick for a 5th grader. Hanged with a group of 5 or 6 girls. Most of the girls in this group were short, skinny, and the pretty ones of the class, so she stuck out from that group. During recess these 5 girls ganged up on her and pulled down, sometimes ripping her shirt exposing her chest, and laugh cause they thought it was funny. She'd fight it and tell them to stop, but they'd do it even more, sometimes pinning her arms to the side so they could. She ended up hanging out with me more and finding different friends in middle school. Jesus ducking Christ. This is just straight sexual assault. These were her friends and they were pinning her down and pulling her shirt down. Yeah friends. Hey, thanks for watching and don't forget to subscribe for more daily Reddit videos.